Okay. Who are you?
I am Noah Broomfield.
Cool.
I'm your brother.
Cool. And where are we?
We are in Wolfe County, Kentucky on Flat Mary Road.
How come?
I was just visiting my friend and fellow ceramic artist, Casey Popper.
What for?
An experience of a lifetime.
Cool. How are you feeling after having experienced this experience of a lifetime?
I'm ready for another experience.
Really? Do you have another experience of a lifetime coming up soon that you might have in mind?
In 12 hours,
What's that experience?
I'll be en route to Japan.
Why are you going to Japan?
To learn about Japan.
Where are you going to go in Japan?
We're going all over the place. I think we're going to Tokyo and Kyoto. We're going to Nara and Hiroshima. And I think we're going to swing close to Fukushima. See
Oh, wow.
what's going on over there.
What is the thing you're looking forward to the most about going to Japan?
I've been really excited to see the natural scenery there. I checked in with my local mountains in Berea, and I was trying to check in with the mountains here in Wolfe County before I go see some really big mountains in Japan. So I'm excited to see the kind of things that inspired Basho, people like that.
Will you get to spend some time in the mountains? A lot of the places you mentioned are kind of urban.
Yeah, I think some of our
Look at that
routes. Oh, it's beautiful.
Yeah, it was watching me as I drove up.
It's got like red shoulder pads.
I meant to ask Casey what it was, but we'll have to ask Mom. when we get
Laura did those birds too.
Sweet. So, are you spending some time in the mountains?
I think some of our journeys, we're going to a lot of shrines.
Cool.
We're shrine hopping,
Cool.
kind of. So a lot of those
Another bird like it.
may be in more rural places, but our hub is usually in more of the urban places.
Cool. That makes sense. Easier transportation and accommodation, typically,
Right.
but more expensive. Did you know, let me back up. Will you get to visit the A-bomb memorial in Hiroshima?
I believe that's part of it. I think generally we're going to do most of the attraction things, attractions, so to speak, as well as focused studies with the classes that I'm taking.
What classes are you taking?
I'm taking 2 literature seminar classes. One is focused on religions through literature, and the other one is focused on women, writers and women portrayed in literature.
I was really interested in women in Japanese culture when I visited, so I'll be interested to hear what you learn. I didn't have a chance to really study the writing, so you'll have to let me know what you learned. Did you know that Obama visited the A-bomb memorial in Hiroshima earlier today?
I saw something on my Google smartphone about that. I had some notification about that. What was that about? What was he doing?
Apparently he's the first president to ever visit the A-bomb memorial while serving. This has been hyped in the media for a couple of weeks now. Some hawks, so people who would probably bomb Japan again if they were given the chance, thought that it was a sign of weakness that Obama wanted to visit the memorial. They were afraid that he was going to apologize for what we did in World War II. And I'm sure that a lot of doves, so, kind of the opposite end of the spectrum from hawks, were like, WTF are you talking about? I read this one article in the Times that was really unfortunate. It described the A-bomb memorial in a way that I completely didn't agree with. Like, it criticized the memorial for skipping over Japan's bad shit that it did in the war, which is not what I remember. At least, maybe I knew enough about Japan's history to read between the lines and see what they meant, but it sounded to me like this reporter who was writing this article had never been there, because they were like, it's just a sob story, Japan got bombed, they were doing bad things, they deserved it. So I don't know who wrote that article, but it sucked. Maybe I should write an essay and critique of it.
Yes.
But this has been a couple of years in the making. John Kerry went there and I think agreed with the idea behind the memorial that all world leaders should visit it and see the costs of not only war but also nuclear weapons. And it was definitely a very striking experience for me, and I totally agree with that. I think everybody should go there, especially decision makers in charge of things like that. So it's interesting timing that you're going, and I'll be interested to hear what you think. Yeah,
and it'll be interesting to see if there's any influx of certain kinds of people at this memorial.
And it'll be interesting to see if they, add any, a photo of Obama there or something, if they've updated it since he visited. Another question about the news. Did you hear about the removal of racist terms from federal law?
I did, and hooray, no more Orientalism.
Yeah, so that was only one of a few. I didn't actually read the bill itself, but I understand that it removed Oriental, Negro, and Spanish speaking. There was some sort of slur for Hispanic people in there as well. So that's another thing that's creating the context for your departure.
Yeah. And just in time.
So, are you ready to hop on a plane?
I think I might pack a couple things.
That's probably a good idea.
Maybe wash a couple articles of clothing.
What about, existentially and emotionally ready?
I think I had my low swing. They talk about the snake of what is it, homesick? The homesick snake, or the culture shock snake. That's what they talk about, where you start out really excited and then you go down really low and you're feeling really bummed out. I was feeling bummed out. I was nervous to be going on my first international experience.
Yeah.
I don't know the language, and I wish I knew more about the country, but I have done quite a bit of studying and reading. But I've taken some time, had some space, visited a friend, and I'm ready for the experience now. I'm excited for it.
Well, if you're anything like me, and chances are you might be, I think you'll get a lot out of diving in. That's where I've found I learn the most.
Yeah. I'm really excited to just go at this experience to the fullest.
And do you have any inklings about what you might do with it, with the experience? Maybe when you come back?
I think mostly it's going to inform me as a person and, by extension, my artwork. I think I'm required to do a few presentations as part of payment for my trip. So that is definitely on the books too.
Cool. You'll have to invite me.
I will.
What kind of art do you do?
I make clay art.
Sweet. And do you have a style down, or are you still open to experimentation? Where are you with your practice?
There's a big stigma with clay art, where we have this huge history of functional pottery on our shoulders. And for a long time, the opposite of that has been to make ceramic sculpture.
Mm-hmm.
Or just larger functional pottery that isn't necessarily functional, in aesthetically speaking. But I'm interested in finding a way to slip out of that duality and use clay as more of an art of mending, or an art of communities.
Well, I think it's definitely a better form to explore that idea than, say, wood.
Yes.
I mean, you can't mend wood as easily as you can clay. So I'll be interested to see how that idea manifests in your future work. Where's the best place for myself or someone watching this to see your work?
Instagram.
What's your name on Instagram?
I have the handle TheRealInCV.
Cool.
Which is my initials.
Anything else before we press stop?
Be good to yourself and everybody around.